Howdy hackers, and welcome to another episode of FairLight TV. There are so many retro-inspired peripherals by now, but I'm always interested in having a look whenever they show up. And today we are going to have a look at the 8Bitdo C64 colored mechanical keyboard. So over to the review of the 8Bitdo keyboard. Okay, let's go through the features of 8Bitdo C64 related keyboards, which you can see here now. So first here you have a controller between Bluetooth 2.4 and off, not in that order, but that's where they are. Bluetooth, you don't need a dedicated receiver because we're sort of assuming that the entity that you are communicating with is supporting Bluetooth. So let's say you can use this for your mobile phone if you just enable Bluetooth, and then you could use the keyboard for your mobile phone. 2.4, you would need a dedicated receiver. That one has a slot underneath here. You can see it here. So here, and of course that one is now in my computer. It's a little cute thing, and it's clearly showing that this is basically a version of their Nintendo keyboard. As this one, it has like tile bricky kind of texture, looks like Mario or something. So it's, and the Nintendo one is exactly the same, but of course this one is the brownish one, the classical bread bean brown. And the off is the settings you're going to have it on when you're using cable, but that's also a cable you will use for connecting the unit and updating the firmware for it. Now it's writing on something, well, whatever. Okay, super. And then you have volume. I'm not going to change that because that will probably cause problems, but that one works well, and you can just turn it around and around and around and around. This button here, I guess that's mainly for Bluetooth. So the indicator here would say if it's connected to Bluetooth, and I think this is the pairing button. But since I'm using the 2.4, the proprietary solution they have for that, then I don't need that button. This one is used for connecting or programming peripherals. So you have the joystick and you have the buttons, and we will have a look at those in a minute. So you press that one, and then you press a key or a key combination and like the button, and then you program the button that way. The last one here is if you're using the default profile, if you're using your custom profile. So there is a program that you can run on your bigger computer, a Windows or a Mac computer. I don't think it has Linux support, and then you can program that to be whatever you want it to be. So the switches here. This is a mechanical keyboard, and that means that let's see if I can move myself into another window so you don't see my typing here. It's very, very loud and clicky. They tend to say that for gamers you would need a mechanical keyboard with linear switches, and for typing you would be more looking for tactile. This one is clicky, and that one is said to be for people who want to live alone forever, because it's basically impossible to be in the same room when somebody types in this kind of keyboard without actually going mad. I think it sounds really nice, but I would also fully understand if somebody would get totally annoyed by it. I've seen a YouTube video of some guy pulling all the caps off and then exchanging the switches. So you could buy, I don't know, a set of switches that would be sufficient for this keyboard. In Sweden, they would cost around 40 to 50 euros for that, and those would be the red ones. And you are looking at the color coding, because the color coding on switches sort of tell you what kind of switch that is. I'm not going to do that. I'm not really sure this is going to be my daily driver yet, but yeah, let's see how long it takes before my wife goes totally bonkers for me using it. What else? Yeah, I mean, one of the things is if I put something here, and you wouldn't see that, would you? No, like that. I don't know if that became visible, but if I rest something on the top of that key and on the bottom of that key, it's quite clear that you are sort of looking at like a little arch here. So that book, when I did that, did not touch the middle two rows of keys. If I look at my C64, the native one, or the original one, when I do the same, it touches sort of the top of all the keys, all the key rows there. Do you want that, or do you want something else? I think this one is absolutely fine. The little nuance I find here is that the top row here is quite high, which means that I need to kind of move around it if I want to press the F keys. So the F keys have sort of a different level. Again, it's a matter of taste. Would you say that's an issue or not? I think it's a bit irritating, to be honest. And being from the C64 scene, there are sort of two things that would annoy me a bit. The Petsky characters that you would have normally on the front of a native C64 keyboard, they are not there. You only see what's on the top of the screen, top of the keys. And the other part is, given that I'm natively Swedish, I tend to have my keyboard set to Swedish. And that also means that when I press any of the keys, the picture you see on top does not necessarily correspond what actually is the output, because everything goes via the Swedish key map. So, and we had the same issue with C64s in Sweden. The first set sold had English or American keyboards. The next set were supplied with like small stickers that you can put on top of the keycaps here. And then we got the really native ones where the stuff printed was proper, so including the Swedish keys. But you need to sell a lot for a very small market for that to be valid. So I don't expect them to do anything like that. But it would be really, really appreciated if somebody actually produced stickers to stick on top of the keys, so I could actually see what I'm typing, because I'm not one of those perfect typers who could type without watching the keyboard. I am watching the keyboard, sorry. Okay, what we have as well here would be, let's see here. So again, this was the slot for the receiver. Here you have the USB connection, so it's USB Type-C. And then you have 4 3.5mm slots, and they go to the joystick. Joystick is the one that's X and Y, so that port is like this. It's a dual one fitting there. And the last one, this is the joystick, or sorry, the buttons. That's a single one like that. All right, let's see if we can move into showing them. So the buttons, they are massively big. I mean, if you compare it with my hand, it's almost like half of the finger or even more than that. And then you have the very tiny joystick. When I see it, what I think about is the SpectraVideo 328. I think the 728, or there was another SpectraVideo computer that had, like, or possibly it was the 318 that had the joystick integrated in the keyboard. Yeah, the 318 it was, and it looked like something like this. And to be honest, the buttons are absolutely perfect. They are way too big. I don't need anything big as big as that for a key. But I mean, pressing one of them is super, super convenient. This one is a little wobbly and a little not really to my liking, to be honest. I think it's a bit too wobbly. Yeah, what else? And the program you can use for your bigger computer, you can configure macros. So when pressing a key, you can define one of the keys, and pressing that one would mean that you would write like a bigger thing. The only thing, it's kind of slow. So when you are pressing something, it feels like it outputs a new character like every 0.5 seconds. And if your macro is only one key, that might not be a big issue. But if you have a bigger sentence or something that you want to output, like a framework for a procedure that I would like to print, then it's a bit too slow. And I have no idea why it's that slow. It makes absolutely no sense that it is that slow. So summarizing this, ergonomically, this is an excellent keyboard. I mean, quality and build-wise, it's absolutely great. There is nothing to complain about. Quality, build quality, everything is super solid. It's heavy. I could have wanted like a little lifter. Most of the keyboards I have would have little legs that you can pull out and have them raised. Again, so that they actually kind of fit the angle of your hands, whatever you feel is comfortable. The click, yeah, that is a personal thing. It is possible to change it, but again, that's sort of half the price of the keyboard. This I paid just over 1,000 Swedish crown, which is like 100 euros. And if I would need to add another 50 just to change the switches here, the cost would be significantly higher. So I'm not super sure that everybody would like the clicky sounds. I guess I'm fine with it for now, but I'm not yet sure that I would change this for my daily driver. Again, the joystick is very small and wobbly. It has a non-standard connection. So if I would ask somebody to do something, it would be to take like a normal Atari style D-sub port and have that connected to X, Y, and the button here. A little connector between them so I could use a normal standard joystick for my C64 stuff. That would be mostly appreciated because, yeah, the ports, yeah, they are standard and it's very convenient if you're using like some other 3.5mm stuff. But the big risk here is that you start pulling microphones and stuff into them, and they are not meant for that. They are only meant for the peripherals like this. Yeah, what else? Do I recommend this? For some, but not necessarily for all, to be honest. It's a rather special thing. And if you want to have like, if you don't speak English natively and would like a keyboard in some other language than, or key map than the English one, this might be an issue for you. That's probably the thing that would push me not to use this as my daily driver. Super great, guys, and yeah, also appreciated my experiment of using my my webcam here for filming the keyboard when doing this. So see you next time. All the best. Bye bye.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. FairLight.